I'm not hyping up anyone. I still wouldn't sign Ryan Gravenberch. But what's the one consistent thing I've always said on this channel? And you can watch any transfer stream you want. There's been one specific line that I use always, and it's not an accident. The line that I use is, as long as the manager gets who he wants, I'm happy because I trust the manager. Ryan Gravenberch would absolutely not be my signing, but Jurgen wants Ryan Gravenberch and has done for a while, so I am absolutely more than happy to get behind the player Klopp wants in because I trust the manager. So let me just clear that one up first and foremost before we get stuck in tonight. Grinds, I never said you were trying to insult me, dude. I never once accused you of trying to insult me. I just don't like people putting words in my mouth, and I never once hyped them up. I can only present to you the facts as we know them. But look, either way, let's look at the positive of this, and there's a huge positive to be had. Jurgen Klopp is about to get the player he wants, and that's all I've ever wanted. So I'm absolutely over the moon that Liverpool are closing in on the signing of Gravenberch for Jurgen's sake, because Jurgen wants him. I think it's a risk, but it's a calculated risk, and one of those factors that I tried to take into account with a calculated risk is the money involved, and the money involved in this seems to be pretty decent. Haven't got a definitive figure for you yet, but it looks like you're going to be talking around £35 million. Couple of things to bear in mind with this deal is Ajax have a 7.5% sell-on clause on top of the fee that Bayern Munich paid, so that will have to be taken into account. And of course, a lot of this will be subject to Paulinho completing that move from Fulham to Bayern Munich. And I can't give you information on that side of things because obviously I don't have any Fulham connections there. But this is good news, and I'm over the moon. I'm very, very happy to be on here tonight talking about Ryan Gravenberch becoming a Liverpool player because it's what the manager wants, and I trust Jurgen Klopp implicitly. So, yeah, I'm happy. I'm happy right now. Dare I say, I'm hearing this might not be the only piece of business before the window closes. I haven't got concrete information yet, so I'm not willing to spill the beans on that one, but I think the club are looking to try something else as well here. So, good news. And I'm glad we got it because we deserve it, right? As fans, it's been a tough all window. And this looks like it's ending in the direction that I thought at the start of the window it might. Now, look, I still don't rate Ryan Gravenberch as highly as other people do. But it doesn't matter what I think. What matters is that the squad depth is there, and that's all I've asked for all summer. And now, with Gravenberch, if that deal finally gets done and dusted, that's the midfield rebuild done. If you want to look at Andre in January, absolutely no bother with that. But now it'll come down to a centre-back. So, be happy, be excited, you've every right to be, you deserve to be, and I'm here tonight to give you guys the stage, the time to celebrate, to give me your thoughts. Some of you will be underwhelmed, some of you will be over the moon. That's okay, but it is surely better than no signing. That much I think we will all agree on. Happy for Klopp and Gravenberch, said Colin. Have a real player, real signing on our hands. Just sad no centre-backs are mentioned as it's ridiculous. That's the other signing I'm kind of alluding to, mate. They are trying in that situation. So Nat Phillips looks like he's going to be going to Celtic on loan for the season. I'm sure you've probably seen that today yourselves when you've been scrolling through social media. A bit weird about that one. You know, I would have liked to have seen Nat get a full-time move for his own career, but look, it'll free up a space for us, and Gravenberch, most importantly, won't take up a non-homegrown spot because, of course, he's still under the age he still makes it just under the 21-year-old bracket, so all good in that regard. Still have a squad place available should Liverpool look to bring in a centre-back who isn't homegrown. Craig, he rejected United for us. Doesn't that just make it a little bit better, Mansour? Doesn't it? It's great, isn't it? I won't lie. I am that type of shithouse. As soon as the Gravenberch stuff started coming out today, I'm sure you've probably done this yourselves because I know you're all as big a shithouse as I am. You started looking for those Welcome to Manchester United Ryan Gravenberch edits, didn't you? Don't lie to me. Craigie knows you did because I did, and I know that you were the very same. And you wouldn't have had to look too far to find them. And this is what I love about the banter between fans. We can just throw this back in people's faces forever now, and I love it. And people can go, but we lost out. We lost out Mason Mount to Man United. Yeah, but he's injured, and he was like 60 million. So I'm happy. I'm happy today. So is it official? That's one of the first comments I seen tonight from you guys. And no, it's not official, but it is almost there. It is contingent on Bayern Munich getting in Paulinho. I've told you all summer that Bayern Munich are looking to bring in another central midfielder to add a bit of depth with Konrad Laimer and with, what's his face, Joshua Kimmich. So this makes sense. Now, I'm still not convinced on Gravenberch, but Jurgen is. And as I've said all along, I just want what the manager wants. And if the manager wants Gravenberch, happy days. Bayern reject, we should have top players. Look, I'm not going to argue with anybody who thinks he's a Bayern reject. I'm not going to argue, because my thought processes are that I'm not over the moon about this. But I do trust the manager. And if it works out, look at it this way, my friend. And I'm not going to belittle you, Vineeth, for what you've said, but think about it this way. If it does work out, we're going to have a midfield that consists of a 22-year-old Dominic Szoboszlai, a 24-year-old Alexis McAllister, an 18, 19-year-old Stefan Bajcetic, a 21-year-old Ryan Gravenberch, Curtis Jones and Harvey Elliott, both, 22 and 19 or 20. That's the future. That is us covered for the next 3, 4, 5 years. And we can't complain about that. That's good business from the club. If you add in the youngsters that they've brought in who are 16, 15 years of age as well for the future, I think Liverpool and Jurgen Klopp are starting to look a bit healthier. I'm still a bit concerned that we did not have a world-class destroyer like Fabinho was a year ago. His form was one of our problems last year. So I wouldn't call Gravenberch a destroyer. I think your assessment there is fair. But I would call him what Jurgen Klopp loves, that versatile word. He can play in a 6. He can play in an 8. He can play in a left-sided 8. Ryan Gravenberch is exactly the profile of midfielder that I've spoken about all summer. I just had other preferences personally. But we've always told you, 6 foot plus, athletic, young, versatile, rangy. It fits. Now, I'm going to draw your attention away for a second and back to something that Raphael van der Vaart said when we were strongly linked with Jude Bellingham. He said that, in his opinion, Ryan Gravenberch is better than Jude Bellingham in every department. Now, I very much disagree with Mr. van der Vaart, but I also agree 100% that there's a lot more in Ryan Gravenberch's locker than we have yet seen at Bayern Munich and, of course, at the Under-21 Euros. If we can rediscover I'm going to compare him to Pogba, because that's I think a fair assessment of the languid style of play you get from Gravenberch. And I think under Jurgen Klopp, with an arm around his shoulder, with encouragement, with a good dressing room behind him, the fans behind him, I think Ryan Gravenberch could do well at Liverpool. I just thought a bit risky for my own taste. But if it works, the ceiling is really high with this kid. More creative midfield full of flair and skill, said Malcolm Billington. So, look at it this way. If you bring in Gravenberch, every style of midfielder that you need is there, I think, at Liverpool. You've got your creatives in McAllister, Elliott, Szoboszlai and Jones. You've got your versatility in Bajcetic and Gravenberch, who can both play 6 or 8. You've got your specialist in Endo to play the 6 role. And again, as I spoke about, if we revisit Andre, and I truly don't know what the situation is there now, that's us boxed off for 5 years minimum. So I'm excited. I'm excited because I was so scared that we were going to see Jurgen Klopp fade away, that this team, this rebuild was almost there, and I think most of us just felt scared that Klopp would be judged harshly if he didn't win a trophy in the next 2-3 years. Now I feel like it's almost a foregone conclusion that we're going to win something in the next few years over the sake of a couple of extra signings, which is mad because for me, our first 11's always been pretty much as good as anybody's. If you put out our best 11 That's great. But where we've been let down, in my opinion, was the backups, be they defensive or attacking. We always kind of just ended up coming up a little bit short or looking a little bit disjointed when we were forced to make some of those changes. Now I feel like there's a great level of continuity in the team, and that can only be a good thing. Anybody else feeling a title challenge? Come on. Anybody else feeling a title challenge? I mean, why can't we dream of a title challenge? Let's look around, right? Honestly, look around. Right now, what are we seeing? Arsenal, who have the same points as us, and we've had a harder start. Manchester City, yeah, they're perfect, but they're looking a little bit flawed to me. And they're taking a few gambles with some of their signings. Doku and Matheus Nunes could be excellent, but they could be average. And if they take any time to settle whatsoever, and I've said this all through the window, I think City are there to be got at this season. So you might think I'm a little bit deluded talking about a potential title charge, but I believe what I'm saying. Somebody has to, so why not us? I can feel the title challenge tickling my nuts a little bit. I can't lie, said Colin. Arsenal are shaky. City look off. United look shocking. United do look shocking. It's not even us to try and sit here and say that the Arsenal team look a bit shaky. The pundits are talking about the fact that Arsenal are like overcomplicating things a little bit and they look a bit disjointed. And that win against Newcastle, that will have sent spirits sky high in the Liverpool changing room. And I'm feeling pretty good about life as a Liverpool fan at this moment. 65% delusional. Fuck me, Steve. I mean, are we not allowed to be happy, pal, and dream a little bit? And why are we delusional? We've played Chelsea away, Newcastle away, Bournemouth at home, and we've taken 7 points. I think we've looked as good as anybody else other than shaky defensively. So if we get the defender in and add a bit of squad depth, I don't see why 65% of people are delusional. Title challenge, 100% yes if we get players in, said Canters. Liverpool will definitely challenge City, have the track record for the last 5 years. I don't see any difference between us and City, by the way, said Murtaza, and I'm with you. Honestly, there's a couple of factors that make me think with the right additions we can make a title challenge. One of those reasons is we as Liverpool fans know only too well the toll it takes going and playing every game in a campaign where you're challenging for every trophy. We know that, and we've seen the hangover for us the next year. And this Manchester City team achieved more than we did in that season. And De Bruyne, their talisman, is injured. And I don't know if he will ever return to the same levels of consistency because he's getting on a bit. And Manchester City have rolled the dice a little bit with some of their signings. So, honestly, I don't see why. I think this is an open season. I don't think... If this was last year, I wouldn't sit here and say, even with these signings, title challenge. I just feel City are gettable.